At the EU now, and it's really looking at the EU and what it means for businesses and the pros and cons of being in the EU, which is a very topical issue at the moment for the UK. So just into kind of the history of what the EU is. It's an economic and political union of 28 countries that are based within Europe. And the origins date back to after the Second World War, and recently the EU organisation has won the Nobel Peace Prize because it's thought that because of the EU, it's prevented conflict, really, primarily within Europe. But the EU, as we know it, is a little bit more recent. But before 1993, it had been kind of building up to this and getting there. So the features of the EU. Few important features to go through. So there's no barriers to trade or transfer within the EU. So there are no quotas. There's no tariffs placed on EU members, but there is an external tariff placed. So if you want to if you're importing or exporting to Germany or France, there aren't going to be tariffs or quotas placed on trade with those countries because they're within the EU. But if you're importing from, say, outside of the EU, so China, India, or even countries within Europe but that aren't in the EU, so Turkey, there would be a common tariff or quota placed on them. There's also free transfer of capital, meaning money, but also labour as well. So that means people. So we'll look at the pros and cons of that later on. And there are common standards as well, consistent standards from one country to another. And actually, I was reading an article the other day that meant that university degrees have to be standardised in the sense that they, all over the kind of EU community, they have to be of a kind of bachelor standard that we'd get in the UK, so that someone with a degree from another country is comparable to the degrees that we have in our country as well. So, most important section is the opportunities and threats to businesses of being part of the EU. So, firstly, the opportunities. So, increased levels of demand because you've got a wider market that you've got access to. So, that can have a big impact on your revenue and your overall profits. You're hoping as well, because you're going to be serving a bigger area, you're going to be a bigger business, so lower costs for economies of scale, so that would lower your average costs. More access to money as well, cheaper money available as well, and greater access to labour as well. If you're located in a country which is not training up and educating people for the skills that you require, you've got a whole market out there of 28 member state countries where there might be somebody that could do the job in your business. However, there are some threats for, say, UK businesses. Being part of the EU opens up this whole new market for you, but it also does mean that there are other businesses who can access the customers based in the UK. So it's increased competition from abroad. The UK do pay into the EU, and some of that money does come back to projects based in the UK, but it also goes to projects based abroad as well. So at the moment, the government are trying to reduce their deficit, their fiscal deficit or budget deficit, and so there are some people that don't think that we should be paying for, say, infrastructure projects in Estonia. I'm just off the top of my head picking a random country, and that that money should be based in the UK. And also UK laws often have to change because of EU laws, so that when the EU passes a law, it's meant to trickle down into our laws as well, and so that could increase regulation for UK businesses, which could increase costs. And you also have to make sure that you're observing those laws as well. This is a really, really topical area at the moment, and it's all about whether the UK should remain part of the EU. So my best advice for you, revising for Unit 3 but also Unit 4, is just have a look on the BBC website or any good kind of newspaper's website. Not one of the tabloid ones, because they tend to be a little bit more sensationalist, but the BBC is pretty good for presenting quite a balanced viewpoint, and just have a look at what the politicians are doing at the moment, because it was, I think there was an article today or yesterday about David Cameron and talking about the EU, and he's wanting to hold a referendum about, which would be a vote about whether we stay in the EU or not. So it's going to have a big impact on businesses. And there have been a lot of businesses, a lot of big international businesses that have said they will not remain in the UK if the UK leave the EU. So that would have a huge impact on the UK economy as well.